Heavy fighting is underway in Ukraine's capital after Russia stepped up its operations in the Kyiv region. In the latest, the Russian Defense Ministry has released a video of its armed forces units moving and guarding a bridge in the Kyiv region. This video shows columns of various armored vehicles, trucks and personnel carriers on the move, in what has been described as standing guard over a bridge. Sirens in Kyiv continue to ring through the night. The Russian troops have been unable to breach the capital until now due to the stiff resistance by the Ukrainian forces. But there seems to be no end to the series of attacks in the region. A large explosion lit up the night sky of Kyiv in the early hours of Saturday morning.
Вчора десь приблизно о 12:20-12:30 в нашу школу потрапила ракета з літака. Воздух-повітря. Повітря-земля. Частину школи зруйнувала, були жертви, були поранені, тяжко поранені, з-під завалів забирали їх.
Вчера здесь трупы одни лежали, вот здесь люди стояли в аптеке, вот здесь стояли в аптеке, и вот здесь вот лежали везде трупы. Ну что делают мрази?
Air raids were also carried out nearly 60 kilometers away from Kyiv in Bishiv. Aerial footage showed damaged residential buildings and cars in the center of the village. A massive blast was caught on camera by reporters in the Ukrainian town of Irpin. The visuals show war jets flying in the sky, releasing plumes of smoke into the air. A Ukrainian living in the Irpin region, just 26 kilometers away from Kyiv, was left distraught after his residence was reduced to rubble in a shelling.
Один? Да. Забирай.
Холодильник открывал, холодильником привалило, еле выбрался. Супруга была в другой комнате, выбила окно, выскочила. Мы полезли в погреб, но увидели, что горит, убежали к соседям, у них подвал хороший.
Most of the regions surrounding Kyiv have been subjected to air raids and explosions. The Russian military has strongly denied targeting residential areas in Ukraine, but has amassed troops on the outskirts of Kyiv waiting to go in. For more updates about what's happening on ground in Ukraine, our correspondent Anas Malik is now joining us live from Lviv. Anas, you of course have been reporting for us from Lviv, and we've seen visuals of long queues outside railway stations as thousands attempt to flee. What more can you tell us about this?
Well, I'm outside the Rhinook Square, which is the city center of Lviv city, and you can see what we had been reporting earlier as well. You can see those statues being wrapped up as well in order to protect them, being wrapped in styrofoam. Different statues have been wrapped up in those styrofoam in order to protect them from any misadventure or any averture in case if that happens, any untoward incident that if that happens by and large. If I talk to you about the situation in the city, well, this is the new normal. earlier, had it been any other circumstances, this Rhino Square, the city center, would have been flocked in with the people. You wouldn't even be having space to step a foot over here. But given the recent tensions and hostilities and the invasion of Ukraine, lots of people have been leaving the country. Lots of shops now currently stand closed, and that is a consequence of the war that we are facing, that we are seeing. I was at the Lviv railway station today, and emotional scenes over there, pretty harrowing visuals. Thousands and thousands of families, thousands and thousands of individuals fleeing the country from elsewhere, getting to Lviv, what they believe is considerably safe. Priyanka?
Right. Anas, how is the situation in the city of Lviv right now in terms of troop deployment from both Russia and Ukrainian armies?
Well, the Russians have not advanced towards the western side, but I was in the outskirts of Lviv city today, and just as you exit Lviv, the Lviv city, there is an army checkpost, and after that, almost, let's say, after every kilometer or 2 kilometers, you'd see the checkpost by the Ukrainian militia or the helpers of the army, as they say it. They're bracing extreme temperatures, sub-zero temperatures. It's been snowing all day here in Lviv. Even now, it's snowing dimly. But despite of that, these volunteers, or as they say, helpers of the Ukrainian army, are standing tall, and they say that they would do all what it takes to avert and give a pushback to the Russian forces as, when and if they decide to come over to the western side of the country, which is in Lviv and beyond. Priyanka?
Right. Just a final question, Anas, to give us our viewers a sense of what's actually happening on ground. We're also getting reports of those fleeing choosing to walk for miles and miles until they reach a neighboring country, anything to reach safety. Tell us more about that.
Well, absolutely, that is true. I walked in from the Polish border, from the Medica crossing. There are at least 9 border crossings that Ukraine and Poland share, and 2 of them are towards the west. One is the Karachova crossing, the other is the Medica crossing. The Karachova crossing allows motor vehicles to go in, whereas the Medica crossing allows both motor vehicles and travelers on foot to go in. When I walked in from the Medica crossing, there was at least a 5 to 7 kilometer long line of motor vehicles waiting to cross over from Ukraine into Poland, whereas the line the other way around, from Poland into Ukraine, there were hardly any vehicles, maybe 2, probably 3 vehicles, not more than that. So that explains how many people are trying to flee. Also, to add, they were about, those cars were not just empty, they were not just vehicles, they were vehicles filled with families, filled with loved ones, and each vehicle would at least be having 3 or 4 individuals. So that explains, in the past 10 days, more than 1.2 million people have left the country. 1.2 million people have been left or rendered homeless. They've left their comfort, they've left their houses, they've left their livelihood in order to seek refuge or find shelter in what they consider is a safe place. Priyanka?
Right, Anas Malik, our correspondent currently in Lviv in Ukraine, getting us all the latest updates. Thanks so much for those updates. We'll come back to you for more, of course. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.